Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how to create a complete e-commerce website from scratch using WordPress, WooCommerce, and Offsprout. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to recreate a site called Covery, which you can see here, and they sell sunglasses and regular glasses for seeing. So we're going to recreate that website from scratch. So let's get to it. The first step is to install WooCommerce or run the installer. So you can see here it's asking for your store address, and we're just going to put in the address of that. We'll use a fake address. Then it asks what kind of goods you plan on selling. It also asks if you want to help WooCommerce improve with tracking, and we'll just leave that checked. Then the next step asks you to set up your payment information or your payment processor information. So we're going to use Stripe and PayPal, which is the default. Next is shipping, and you can see here they have an option for live rates, flat rate, or free shipping. We're going to use a flat rate, but if you want to use live rates, you can integrate with WooCommerce services, and they help you calculate a live rate for shipping. So we'll just leave it as flat rate for now. Then the next step, this is for collecting taxes. So again, this uses WooCommerce services. And then the MailChimp is if you have a MailChimp account that you want to send buyers to for the purposes of email marketing. Next we have connection with Jetpack, and that helps with the automated taxes, as it says. Since we're building this demo on a local host, we're not going to be able to continue with Jetpack because Jetpack and WooCommerce services need the website to be live. So you'll see here it's going to throw an error for us, but if you were on a live site hosted online, you'd be able to continue with Jetpack and WooCommerce services, and it would help you set up the live shipping and tax rates. And as expected, we got the error, but we're going to click finishing. We're going to click finish setting up your store anyway, and finish the WooCommerce installer. And that's it. So these parts just allow you to sign up for WooCommerce's mailing list and give you a few links that you can follow. But we're going to go visit our dashboard. And you can see here that it says that you should set up your Stripe keys. That's for your payment processor. We're actually not going to put our Stripe keys in since this is not going to be a live site, but if you were going to be selling stuff, this is where you'd do it. And then you'd just click Save Changes once you had the keys in there, and you can find those keys in your Stripe account, and there are links on that page. So next we have the Offsprout settings, and we're just going to go and run the Offsprout site grower to get our site jump started. So it detects that it's a new site, gives you the ability to run the site grower on a new site from scratch. And so we'll upload our logo. We'll upload the Covery logo. Actually, we'll upload a whole bunch of images from the Covery site all at once, and I'll fast forward that quickly so you don't have to wait for all these images to upload. But you can see here we got all of our images, and we're just going to select the Covery logo. Then we'll click Next. Next we set up the company info, so this is the Covery company info, and we're putting in the address and city, etc. That's used in various templates. Now we have the social profile URLs that are used in the social profile URL or social profile icon module. We won't do any remote template sites. And now we'll just add some pages. So you can see here, we don't really have any templates available that look exactly like the Covery homepage, so we'll just use a standard full page width template for that homepage, and we'll give it a title. And then there's a page that looks like their elevated fit page, Covery Store's elevated fit page. This template looks a lot like that, so we'll use it for elevated fit. And we'll create a blog page because that Covery site has a blog. This one looks kind of like it, and we can just change the display to display in columns. And then we have a ton of internal pages, and we'll create and publish all of those so that we don't have to do that later. And so I'll just do that really quick right here. So you can see we're just creating all of these different pages off the bat so we don't have to create them later. And finally, we'll create a contact page, and we'll use this template for that. So now we have all of our page templates. Let's change this one to use a map since they do have a physical location, and we'll give that a page title contact. Okay, so now we have all of our pages. We're going to click next, and we're going to delete the existing posts. We don't want to delete the pages because WooCommerce has created a bunch of pages automatically, and we don't want to delete those. So we've clicked OK, and we're growing our site with the Offsprout site grower. And now Offsprout is saying that there are no structures found. So structures are how you create headers and footers and other site-wide elements in Offsprout. And so we will delete this default header, and we'll delete the default footer. And we'll go ahead and choose some templates to create our Covery header. And you can see here in the bottom right what we're trying to recreate there, that little band that says Covery. That's the header that we're trying to recreate. And so I'll search for something that kind of looks like it, and then we'll tweak from there. So you can see here we dropped in a header template with the left aligned navigation. And now that the actual Covery header has that black bar on top of the navigation, and so we'll eventually build that with a side-by-side module, which I just dropped in. So we'll get back to that. But for now, let's build our navigation menu. So you can see here we're adding a new menu, giving it a name, call it main menu. And now we're just going to add all of our menu items. And you can see that we can nest different menu items, and we'll link up the pages that we have links to, but some of these menu items link to category archive pages, and so we'll link them later. Next, we want to give the navigation some design and try and match the design of that Covery template that we have showing, again, in the bottom right. So we're changing font size, capitalizing all of the items, increasing the letter spacing, little things like that. And now we're going to work on that black bar right above the navigation. So first we want to choose the types of modules that are going to be inside that side-by-side module. So you can see they have a little navigation with account and my cart, and then they also have a cart icon that shows you what's in your cart. So we'll use navigation and the WooCommerce Global Elements modules. And we'll right align that side-by-side module. And you can see here we have the cart indicator as the element that we're choosing in that global elements module. And now let's create our menu for the little account my cart section of that black bar. So we'll add a link for account, and we'll add a link for my cart. And we'll set those up and link them to the pages because WooCommerce created those pages automatically. All right. And now we'll do some styling as we did with the navigation menu below it, changing the font size, letter spacing. And now what we want to do is create that black background. So we go to the side-by-side module, standard options, change the background to use the black color, then change the text color to use a white text color. And you can see here there's a little extra spacing, so we're going to eliminate that spacing right now. So that margin is gone, starting to look more like that black bar. And we'll get to the rest later, but now let's work on the footer. So you can see here we have a bunch of footer templates, and this one looks kind of like the footer that we're trying to recreate, and you can see that footer in the bottom right again. So there are 4 columns, 3 with navigation, and then there's the social icons row below that. So we're moving the social icons to be below the navigation to match that footer that we're trying to build. And we'll move the non-navigation column to the right, like that, the connect column with the subscribe form. We'll delete that little spacer above since we don't need that. And now we're going to go in and edit the items in this navigation menu. So this is a posts module, and we're going to list specific pages in there. So we can go and select all of those different links that we want in that navigation. And then you can see the order doesn't exactly match the order in which we added them, so we'll go into our query and we'll order them by the specific order that we selected them. And now we'll do a little bit of styling in that navigation. So we'll switch to the standard settings for that module. And we'll go to center them in the text align setting. And we'll change the font size, decrease that a little bit. And now we'll style the header a little bit. So we want to center that as well. And there's also, well, first we'll put the text of the header, so change that to navigation. But next we'll work on the header line. There's that little light gray line below the header, so we'll add that in. And it's pretty thin in our mock-up in the actual Covery site. And we'll change the spacing between the header and the header line. Alright, and we can save that. And now that we have this column with some of the styling that we want, we'll delete the other two columns, and then we'll duplicate this column so that we don't have to copy that style for our next two columns. So here we'll just change the pages that are selected in our posts module. So we got 4 items that we're adding there. And again, we'll do that for the third column and change it to the 3 items that they have listed under their company column. And now one thing that I forgot to do was capitalize the text of the heading. So we'll do that. And the navigation also needs to be capitalized. So we'll go in and do that. Again, that's a standard setting for each module. And we'll do that for all 6 modules. So all 3 headings and all 3 posts modules. Also changing the font size of the navigation, the little post module navigation, to be a little bit smaller. And we'll change the text of those 3 column headings. Okay, and so the last column we have that connect column. So we'll duplicate again just so we can get the heading text to match up stylistically. And we're adding a text module below that. And we'll just quickly style that. So they have a pretty small font size for that. So we'll change the font size in our standard settings once again. We'll center the text. And we will write their little call out. And you can see they have all of this fitting on one line. So we're going to go in and we're going to reduce that font size a little bit more. And then we have to add the opt-in form underneath it. So we'll grab our form module, insert that underneath. We don't have any forms, so we'll create one. And we can call it opt-in. Then we'll edit the form field. So by default, those include name, email, and message, but we only want the email form field. And we want that to be full width. So we'll save that form. You can see here we have additional options for the submit button text, which they have set to join. So we'll make that join, save the form, and then we'll do some additional styling for that form. So first we'll reduce the border radius for the form field to 0 because they have a box form field. And we'll eliminate the bottom margin on that form field because we're going to put that in line with the button, which we do by going into button design and then ticking inline row to yes. So you can see now that the form field and the form button are side by side. And now we'll do a little bit of work on the button design itself. So they have a smaller button, so we'll reduce the padding a little bit on our button. And that might be a little bit too small, but we can come back to it. So we're just making a few little changes to match the design of the Covery opt-in form in that connect row, or connect column rather. And we'll eliminate the border radius on the button itself. Starting to look a little bit more like the footer in the Covery site. So now we'll choose which social icons we want to display in the social media module. First we'll center align it and change the colors. And we can change the padding for each of the social media icons. You could also change the margin, so the spacing in between them. And we can change the icon size itself. And now we can toggle which icons we want to show. So we want to show Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And now we'll change the row background color and the text color to be that lighter gray instead of the dark blue that we have by default. So first that row background color, and now the row text color. Alright, looking pretty good. Move that separator line above the social media icons and we'll change its color to gray. And we'll just save that for now. And you can see that we're looking pretty close, but there are a few things that we forgot. There's not enough spacing in that top bar, and the footer with the last column header needs to be changed. So first that top bar, we'll add a little bit of padding. Give that some room to breathe. Very nice. And the actual navigation is a little bit closer together than we have it. So we'll reduce that item padding for the navigation module. And the font size for our little shopping cart icon module should be reduced, so we'll do that. Update this header. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So one thing is the Covery footer is a little bit wider than what we have, so we'll change our max width. And then you can see here there's an inner row with those 4 columns, and so we also have to change the max width of that inner row. So we'll do that now. Just reduce the padding so that it's not containing that at all. And now we have a wider footer. And then we want to save both the footer and the header as globals, because we're going to use these footers and headers in a number of different structures, and we want to be able to update them in one structure and have that update affect the footer and header for all of the different structures that are using it. So we're saving both of these as globals. Alright, so we got a header global, a footer global. we'll update that structure, and we'll switch back and start working on our home page. Actually, there's one more thing that I want to do quick, and that is to add a border, a bottom border to that header, and then make it a sticky header like the Covery site. So we'll go in, you can see we can click on the global to edit it, and then we'll go to our row, and we'll go to, so we'll set the background as white so that when it hovers, it's not a transparent background, like when we scroll down. And then we will set the border, the bottom border, to a single pixel. You can see we can choose different border types, but we'll keep that solid, and we'll set the color to gray. And we'll update that global. And now we're just making that header sticky, so that when we scroll down, the header sticks to the top of the window. And we'll update that structure. All right, now I think we're ready to start working on our home page. So I'll refresh the page. You can see here now we have the header with the bottom border. And this is the page that we're trying to build. This is the Covery homepage, so we're going to build our page to look just like that. So first, we'll work on the hero section. So we'll see if there's a hero template that looks kind of like that. And you can see here we have a template called Layered Hero that looks a lot like the template from the Covery homepage hero area. And so we'll quickly edit this template to make it look like the Covery hero area. So we're just adding a screen, swapping out images, changing the text, and we're going to update our centralized color scheme now as well. So you can see we have the primary and action colors. Those are the two main colors of the color scheme, and we're going to set those both to black to match the Covery color scheme. And then we'll add the gray color for our accent color. And we're also going to design our button skins, our centralized button skins. So you can see here the Shop Now button is connected to the action button skin, and so we're just changing that skin so that we can reuse that button layout, that button design across our site. So looking pretty good now, that hero area, but there's still, we need to increase the spacing a little bit. Actually, first let's change the background to use our new alternate accent color that we set in the centralized color scheme. And now we'll go in and we'll make the spacing almost 100% width. So we'll set that to 94, looks good, maybe 93. And now that hero area, you can see, extends pretty much the full width. So now it's looking pretty much exactly like the hero area of the Covery site. And the next section below that is that little gray bar. So we'll get to work building that now. So you can see we already have a text section there. So we'll just modify that text section by adding some additional padding on the top and bottom and reducing the max width of the row. And we'll change the background color to use the accent color from our centralized color scheme. And I'll just go ahead and copy in the text from the Covery site. And we'll center that text. All right, sweet. So the next section is the section with the two boxy glasses images. So one sunglasses, one regular glasses. So we don't really have any templates that look exactly like that, but we'll use a padded section as our starting point for that, and we'll go ahead and add some images for that. So we'll create the first glasses box right now. We can add a caption because that box says sunwear right underneath the glasses part of the image. So we'll type in that caption, and then we'll style that a little bit, turn italics off, change the position of it to be a percentage from the bottom of the image itself, so that no matter what size that image is, the caption will remain in the same place more or less. And you can see we duplicated that column, so now we can see what those boxes will look like side by side. And we can update our styling, our caption styling a little bit. Change the distance from the bottom. And that's looking good, so we'll delete that column that we made and just copy our original column and replace the image. And then we'll replace the caption. And there are our boxes. And so in the actual Covery site, you can hover over the images and it gives you links for men's and women's in each category, but that's not actually great, a great UX for tablets and other mobile devices, because you have to press to hover them. So we're actually going to put those buttons below the image box itself, and that's what we're doing right now. So we have men's and women's buttons that will take you to the listing of men's and women's sunwear once we create those products. And you can see here we're just going to reduce the margin of the image so that those buttons sit nicely below the image, and we'll copy and paste those buttons so that they are placed under specs as well. Alright, so now we have that section complete. Now let's work on the section below it. So first we'll add a heading, and we'll add some top margin to that. We'll center it. Change the heading type to an H2 tag, and we'll change the text. And now let's take a quick break from building our homepage and go to site settings and set our font for the site. So we'll set our base font to Open Sans. We're using Google Fonts here. And we'll also set our heading font, or our header font, to Open Sans. And then our next section is that testimonial section, that little gray area with the quotes. So we'll go and find a template. This one looks almost exactly like the template that we're building. So we'll go in, we'll extend the max width of our testimonial section, and we'll set that to 90%. And then we'll go in and replace the testimonials with the actual testimonials from the Covery site. And we'll change the logo images to match the Covery site. Change the max width on that so that it is the same height as the others. Alright, and that was a quick testimonial section, and then the final section is an Instagram section. So they have a number of different images, and you can install various different WordPress plugins that'll give you a more robust connection to Instagram, but for the purposes of this site recreation, we're just going to use images and link to the Instagram account. So they have a little heading here. It says follow us on Instagram, and then they have 6 square-like images below that. So we'll add those images now. And there's no padding below those images. And they also use max width. So we'll change those settings right now. Save that. And we will duplicate the image and start creating our columns. So you see here we created a new inner row, so a row within a row, and now that row needs to be set to max width of 100%. So now we can start designing the column and reducing the padding of the column so that the images are flush with each other. And now we're just duplicating those columns. So we have 6 images side by side, 6 columns of images. And we can start adding the images from the Covery Instagram. And in the Covery site, the images are black and white unless you hover over them, and in which case they saturate, and so we'll just put the saturate hover effect on the image. And we'll link the image to that Covery Instagram URL. Now we'll work on the next image. Actually, we'll delete the existing columns so that we can copy our new styled column. So now we have 6 images again, but the styling is already there. And you can see here we have different height images. So we can make the heights the same by going to Design and setting our display to custom and setting a custom height for each image. So we'll set that to 230 pixels. Actually, I'll make it 240. And now we'll do that with all of our other images as well. So we'll replace the images, change the height to use custom height and the specific height as 240 pixels. And we're just replacing all of the images now. Alright, awesome. So we have pretty much matched the Covery homepage with the exception of the sunglasses row right there because we don't have any products yet. But we're looking pretty good. Alright, now we actually have to create some products to sell. So we'll switch to the WordPress dashboard. We'll go to Products, Add New, and then we'll add our first product called Prima Black, which will be a pair of women's sunglasses. So you can see here there are a bunch of different meta boxes to put in our information. We'll add a short description for our product, and we'll pull that from the Covery site. And now we'll set our pricing for the item. So you can set a regular price and a sale price. If there's no sale, then you can just use the regular price. You don't actually need to have a sale price. Another thing is the Covery sunglasses have the ability to select polarized or not. So we'll add those as attributes. So polarized yes, and then the little pipe symbol, and then no. And we'll save those attributes and create a variable product out of those two different attribute variations. So now that we have our attributes, we can check the used for variations box and then switch to the variations tab and create variations from all attributes. And that'll add our two polarized attributes, one for yes and one for no. So there are a bunch of other tabs here if you want to control inventory or shipping, if you want to link specific products as upsells or cross-sells. Lots of different options that WooCommerce gives you. So we have our first product. The details are pretty much there. Let's just upload an image for that. We'll have our main product image, and then we'll also have our secondary product gallery with additional images. So we'll use those 3 additional images for our gallery. Click Add to Gallery. And we'll add a category. And we'll call that Sunwear Women. And add that category and make sure that it's checked. And now we can hit Publish. So we'll click to view the product. And you can see here we got nothing. So we'll switch to the page builder. And you see, again, we're just given some default text for our product. So what we need to do is create a structure to use for products. So we'll create a new structure and we'll call it product. Alright, so now we're creating our first our product structure, and you can see that image on the right shows what we're trying to create. So in this section we're going to be creating that top row with the image, the product description, the buy button, that kind of stuff. And then the sections below that will be specific to the product itself. So you can see here we're using a WooCommerce element, single element module, and we're setting this one to display the product image. Then we're going to use another single element module to display the title, and another one below that, and we'll set this to the short description, which we put in the text box in the product when we were creating the product, and we'll duplicate that, and we'll set this to the product price, and below that we'll have the add to cart button. So you can see here how you could build a product page out of its component parts, and you have a lot of flexibility in how that's organized. This is a pretty standard product page, but we could create all sorts of different designs from the component elements. And so below this product information section, we're going to have our content module. So this is where we'll have the ability to create content specific to each product. So remember, there was the image section and some additional explanation for the product. So we'll save that structure, and now we're back at our product. We're going to go and we're going to set the default structure for product post types to our new product structure. Save that. And then if we refresh, now all of a sudden we have our product information all filled in. And so this is all part of the structure, and it gets filled in automatically for each product. Now we're going to install a plugin called it's the WooCommerce Quantity Buttons plugin. WooCommerce Quantity Increment. So that just gives us some better styling for the number, the quantity input right by the add to cart button. So we'll activate that plugin, and you'll see here, again, we'll refresh the page, and you can see now we have that 1 with the plus and minus right next to our add to cart button. And you can see our add to cart button is that orange color, so we want to change that to the black. So we'll go to site settings, and we'll change our WooCommerce button to use a black background, so we could either have that set to a custom black. We have the hover cover too, hover color. So we'll actually use our color scheme and set that to the action color from our color scheme. And you can see that it's grayed out a little bit just because we haven't chosen a polarized option yet. And just finish up designing that add to cart button. So we want like a 14 pixel font size, and then we want to add some padding to it. And you can see that the quantity buttons increase in height as we increase the padding around our button. We'll add a little bit of box shadow to make it stand out a little more, and we'll save that. So you can see we have our image gallery with the zoom all set, and we'll update that. And now we'll start building the area below that product description. So you can see here we have the details, the gray details area, and then there's an image area below that. So we'll build that details area right now, and I'll just build that real quick so you can see we have recommended face shapes, which is a pretty cool feature of Covery. Need to upload that image. and we have the face structure. Face to frame ratio, I guess they call it. And some text details. And then finally, image of the sunglasses measurements, and we'll reduce the width of all of these images to match the cover site. And then below that we have our image section, so we'll build that quickly. And we're changing the max width to be 700 because it's a skinnier width section, changing the margins and padding around the images, replacing them with the images from the cover site. And then below that we have a related products section. So we'll add some text to say to recommend some other products you may also like. And then we will add a related products module. However, we only have one product so far, so there's not going to be any data for related products, and we'll see how that looks later on once we add additional products. So here we go. We have a pretty good product page all saved. It's looking like the product page from the cover site, except for the related products, which we'll get to in a bit. Just make some final tweaks. You can see here we have our image gallery working real nice. We have our polarized variations, yes and no, and those affect the price just like we want. So we'll save that. I think each product has this related products section, so that's probably going to be better to put in the structure itself. So we'll just save this section as a template here. We'll call it related products. And we'll delete that from this product design. So the goal is to not have to add that section to every product. So instead we're just going to put it in the product structure. So we go to edit, edit structure, and that allows us to edit the product structure. And so now we'll put that template that we just saved, our related products template, into the structure itself. And so now all products will get that related products section by default. So if we refresh the page now, you can see because we added it to the structure, it's now there on the product. And let's go ahead and create another product so we can actually see, so we can actually see what that related products looks like. So we'll add Prima White, and you can see all of the details were copied over, and we'll edit the meta. And we'll replace the images with the white sunglasses images. So set our main product image and then set our gallery images. And that little accessories image. And then we have to change the short description to use the description for the Prima White product. Here we go. Paste that in there, clean it up a bit. And we'll go back up to our product details, and we need to, well, first we'll publish this. And you can see if we refresh the page, it still says this product is currently out of stock and unavailable. So we have the related products, the Prima Black product, but we do have to fix that product is unavailable message. So let's go back to the meta view for the product, and the reason that it's showing as unavailable is because we don't have our variation set. So it's set to be a variable product, but we need to set the actual variations for this product again. So we want to create variations from all attributes, and that adds our 2 variations, and we'll update that. We could see that we need to set the price for each of the variations here. So 150 for polarized and 115 for non-polarized, and update again. And now if we refresh our product page, there we go. Now the product is in stock. It gives you the polarized drop down, and we have the rest of the products, the product page there. We have the related Prima Black product. So we're looking pretty good. Alright, next we need to build a structure for the archive page. So like a list of all women's sunglasses. So we'll create a new structure called Product Archive. And here is what the Covery Product Archive page looks like. So it's just a list of all the different sunglasses products. So we'll use the posts module for that, so that we have some granular control over exactly how that's going to look. So first, we'll switch to the main post query source, and we'll preview for products. So you can see here a quick preview, and we're gonna change that up a bunch. We need to put it into columns first. So we'll choose post layout, and then switch from expanded to columns, and then set the number of columns to 2. Actually, I think the number of columns is 3. Yeah, so even though we have 2 products, if we were going to replicate this exactly, we would put the products into 3 columns. And now we're gonna turn off some of the display, because all the Covery site has in their archive, product archive pages are the pictures of the product and the title of the product. So we're deleting the date and the categories and the description, and turning off all that other stuff except for the title and product image. And now we'll give the title some little design, center it, make sure that it's using that black color. And we have our product listing, and now all we need is the heading for this archive page, and we'll connect that to the post title so that no matter which archive it is, it'll show the name of the category. And now we have to set that archive page as the default for the product's archive. I'm gonna just change the style of that product archive title so that it matches the Covery site. Save again. And now you can see if I refresh the page that the archive is looking pretty much like the Covery site. And so now we can update our navigation real quick with the link to the women's sunglasses product page. So it's going to be product-category / sunwear-women. And then the men's is going to be -men. And we'll go ahead and save that menu again. Update the global. And we'll save the structure. And now you can see when we go to our navigation and go to women's, we're linked to the archive page. And now back to our product page, you can see we have our products are pretty nicely designed, but we still have that related products button that's looking a little stock. So let's go to site settings and change the design of that select options button. So we go to the default WooCommerce button design in site settings, and we can go ahead and change the colors and size of that button. So we're changing the background color, changing the text color, and now changing the padding. And finally, we'll remove the border radius, and we'll give it a little bit of box shadow just to make it stand out a little bit like the Add to Cart button. Alright, so that's pretty good styling for now. Some quick styling. And we could also use the post module for those related products if we wanted even greater control over that styling. But we'll just keep it as is for now. Update that. And now one other thing that we want to add to the structure is the store messages, so that when someone adds an item to their cart, when the page is refreshed, they're shown a message that says that the item was added to the cart. So that's using the Woo Global Elements module and the shop messages setting. And we'll just put that right above our little product description area. And you can see it has a quick demo of what that is going to look like, an example of what one of those messages would look like. So now let's go through and see what happens if we add a product to our cart. We're shown the message, and now we go to the cart page, and you can see that the cart is full width. So let's create one more structure for that WooCommerce cart page, and that'll also be applied to the My Account page and other default WooCommerce pages. So all we want to do there is give the cart some breathing room. So we'll constrain the max width again and then add some padding in. And we'll save that structure. And then we need to set the structure as the default structure for WooCommerce pages. And now if we refresh the page, you can see we have a nice constrained width cart page, and again that would be applied to my account pages and checkout pages, all of that stuff. And that's it really. We've created a full e-commerce website with WooCommerce and Offsprout on WordPress in a little bit over an hour. So I wouldn't be surprised if Covery paid between $5,000 and $10,000, or maybe even more, to a web design company to design that site. And now we've shown you how you could build a site like that in between an hour and two. So really powerful tools. Check them out in the description below, and there will also be some other links that might be of interest and can explain details further. Also, if you like the video and you want to see more tutorials on building websites in different verticals and using Offsprout, be sure to click the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Offsprout. Don't just build websites, build your business.